microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I wanna share my love, but it's gotta be with someone who's precious. You're never gonna get my love, accepting that you're real precious. You're never gonna cramp my side.
On the final day in January, it's Monday the 31st of January 2022. Welcome to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We're coming to you live here from the Port Mall in Scarborough. I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Maria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to Tobago, good morning Trinidad, good morning those of you in the Caribbean, and those of you viewing us on the live, good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, Julian is back in Tobago with us. Good morning, Julian.
Good morning, Ria. Good morning, Ria. It feels so good, you know. I went out into a vacation mode. You know, sometimes you need that kind of time out. And as my daughter said to me after Friday morning, Daddy, I hope you have no more work.
That takes you outside of the home, yes.
After the Friday morning show, she said, I hope you have no more work. So it's just for us to enjoy in terms of enjoying the time. So it was pretty good, very relaxing. I can't complain at all.
Well, I'll tell you this, you were missed in the physical space. You were missed. Yes, we did the virtual. It was good. It was good. However, nothing beats face-to-face, so I'm glad that you're back.
And you know, Ria, it gives a sense of, you know, while you're out there, getting up came so natural.
Getting up at that hour, that early.
You know, well, you could have gotten up a lot closer to the time based on how far I had to go to get on set. But it really sent a sense of joy, still wanting to connect with the viewers, still wanting to be in the mix and so on. And you know, I really want to thank the technical team, making sure that we're able to maintain that connection even when there were internet challenges.
That's right. So it tells you of all that is possible here at Tobago Updates.
Definitely, Ria.
No distance.
Not at all.
Right.
We make sure that it happens.
That's right. So before we get into birthday shout-outs and anniversary shout-outs, etc. Ansel Dennis. Let's talk about Ansel Dennis this morning. Former Chief Ansel Dennis, who says that he is ready to lead the PNM Tobago Council after the December 6th crushing defeat. That is if the party so desires.
I don't know, Ria. I feel like I should reserve my comments on that matter because I'm baffled. I'm baffled to think that in a time of new politics, new fresh faces, that we still have politicians who would have been integral in the past administration thinking that this is still the way of life. And I want to say it will be interesting to see at the end of the day, the people determining the PNM's leadership will ultimately be members of the People's National Movement. So it would be interesting to see if members of the People's National Movement would want to go in that direction. And more than that, if they so choose, it would be interesting to see if Tobago would want to go in that direction. But I feel as if the results coming out in elections, and you know, you pay attention even to some other areas and so on, sent a clear signal that people are prepared to vest their confidence in something new, something fresh. And therefore I saw even feedback on social media to the effect of, you know, the former Chief Secretary needs to wake up and recognize that Kelvon Morris is the future of the party as the current minority leader.
I read the comments, and some of I might say it was a little harsh.
Yes, very harsh. Could have been very harsh. And it really says the views of Tobago.
Yes. Well, you know, and some persons were saying, just as you said, why not throw that support behind Kelvon Morris? All right, yeah, Ansel Dennis, they're saying Ansel Dennis had his time. There was a call for Tracy to step down and give the support to Kelvon Morris.
So, I mean, it's interesting. It will be interesting to see how that goes, but I want to believe quite naturally, if you were to ask anybody in Tobago now, whether they belong to the PNM or not, anybody in Tobago you are to ask, who do you see as the next potential leader after Tracy Davidson Celestine? They will tell you automatically Kelvon Morris as the minority leader. But it's left to be seen. It's left to be seen what will happen under those circumstances.
All right. right. As well in the news, the Virgin Atlantic returned to Tobago, to the A&R Robinson International Airport over the weekend. 20 passengers. I saw the tourism element, Tobago's tourism element in full display at the airport, which I thought was really nice. And I must admit that we did see this under the previous administration a few times. All right, maybe not as much as one would have wanted, but we did see it. So we see things moving in a really nice direction where tourism is concerned.
And I think that's definitely a plus. It's a plus for Tobago, because ultimately that remains a mainstay for us until we are able to transition and to be able to benefit from other areas. So we really want to see the tourism thrust thrive for us. And more importantly, I'm really hoping that we get that kind of synergy that all administrations have always been calling for, even this current one and past. The only way we can move our tourism trust forward is if we do it together. We have to do it as Tobago, recognizing that we have a collective responsibility.
Definitely.
So certainly something we look forward to.
As well, Julian, very quickly here, over the weekend, Trinidad and Tobago lost a gospel minister in the person of Samuel Dyer, who passed. I mean, it was sudden. It was what we would call sudden. So I want to take the opportunity this morning to extend condolences to the family, friends, to the Caribbean. He was an international gospel artist, Samuel Dyer, and you know, it was felt throughout the land. I understand this morning that he was also related to our Tobago Update's very own Drew Dyer.
Yes.
So I want to take the time to extend condolences to the Dyers of Tobago as well. Yeah, so it was a hard blow.
Always a very kind of challenging circumstance, and you know, in these times, you really just got to rely on the strength of God.
That's right.
You know, to be able to guide and to provide that kind of support. You know, a long time we would have tell people, be strong, be strong. But now you have to express yourself and then, you know, find ways to get back to life. Don't try to hold it in anymore. You know,
that's right.
In terms of going forward. We have some birthday shout-outs on the lineup this morning. And I want to start with the weekend. I have to give birthday shout-outs to my neighbor, Marcia Allen Boucher, this morning. Tuning into Tobago Updates, we want to wish you morning, and happy birthday from the Tobago Updates family. Also sending birthday shout-outs to Adanma Graham. Adanma, we hope that you had an enjoyable one over the weekend, and we know that the celebrations are apparently continuing all up to late last night. And Adanma, so we trust that you have an enjoyable one. She was still busy on social media. So we trust that you have an enjoyable one in terms of birthday celebrations. And for today, we also want to highlight Kelf Anderson. Kelf Anderson out there in the East, and Monique Lavinia Pereira. Happy birthday to you, coming from the Tobago Updates family.
All right, and celebrating her birthday, we've got Larissa Nichols, and we've got Larissa's picture up with us. Happy birthday going out to you this morning, Larissa, from your mommy and daddy, the entire Johnson Nichols clan, and Uncle Oswald and Turi and the family. Love going out to you today, my dear. As well, a shout out this morning to David Ross, who said to me yesterday, I do not miss your show. I watch your show all the time. So good morning to you, David Ross. Love going out to you today. Have a great day. Be safe out there. And anniversary greetings. Julian, anniversary, we've got Jason Phillip and Renee Bialva. Phillip celebrating their, is it 7th? I think it's their 7th wedding anniversary today. Yes. I peeped this morning,
I saw it early this morning as well.
And I decided, I said, yes, that's going to be our anniversary greeting today. So guys, I trust that, you know, all is well with you, that you enjoy your celebration today. And we trust God for 7+ more years to come.
Beautiful, beautiful indeed. And you know, I want to say that I know Renee might be a little busy, Renee and Jason, into the celebration mode. So it's okay if you go back and view the live after, or somebody may have to tell you. But happy anniversary to you. And we trust that you really, really have an enjoyable one. Rian, we have a birthday today. Information just in. Our Deputy Chief Secretary and the political leader of the PDP, Watson Duke. Information just in that Watson Duke is celebrating a birthday today. So we want to send birthday shout-outs to Mr. Watson Duke out there. We trust that you're having an enjoyable one. You know, Rhea, probably he would go into that family zone celebration time today. You know, and probably rest down the politics and those things just for a little bit to make sure and enjoy that time out. But we definitely want to wish you a happy birthday, Mr. Watson Duke, coming from the Tobago Updates family.
All right, so who do we have on the rundown this morning, Julian? What's coming up?
Well, Ria, on this morning's rundown, we begin the conversation with former Minority Leader of the Tobago House of Assembly, Ashwood Jack, and we're chatting about the state of the THA finances, particularly coming after what would have just been a change in administration. So we'll be beginning the conversation with Mr. Ashwood Jack.
And then we go over to an interview that we had with Rose Ambrose, who is the head nurse attached to the mobile cancer screening unit at the Scarborough Health Center. And she talks about cervical cancer. The month of January was known as Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. And the color was purple, the color to depict cancer, cervical cancer awareness. And so we chatted about some of the signs and symptoms and, you know, the screening process with regards cervical cancer.
All right, and the viewers, after those two major interviews this morning, by popular demand, yes, we are going to include another open call segment for you to call in. The number is 284-6597. That's 284-6597. No, press down the phone. Not right now. That's going to be a later segment in our program this morning, just before we wrap, coming down to that 8 o'clock hour. We're going to give you the opportunity to connect with us. Let's talk Tobago. Let's talk Tobago Updates morning show. And I just want to, of course, once again, there's one more just before we go. Birthday shout out. And I know that they're probably sitting there tuned in this morning. Our birthday shout out to Clint Jerry. And this one comes with an extra connection. This shout out comes, birthday shout out with love from your wife, Delia Mackenzie Jerry. All right, so Clint Jerry tuned in there, and I'm sure he and her are probably sipping a cup of tea this morning or listening in the house. Clint Jerry, enjoy your birthday. I know Delia and the family is going to ensure that you have a great time this morning. Those of you joining us on Gael TV and M&E TV, we want to say thank you. Those of you joining us online, TobagoUpdates.com. Those of you joining us via YouTube at our Tobago Updates, we invite you to continue to subscribe. And for those of you online on Facebook, remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
And look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on me. Good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on you.
Patricia Nicholson Richards to our top
Tobago
story.
Update Sports. I'm your boy Marcus Daniel. Thank you.
Trinidad and looms as
remains when
the public is
nobody lives here. Oil and gas exploration continues to affect the livelihood.
Spearsides Marine
In
Tobago fishermen.
When will the
Sion
Roxborough
Francis
Hospital be fully functional?
of the 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. window at the
Fine
islands
treasures like the Golden
continue to
Waterfall.
rise in Tobago.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash in transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Morning, viewers. It's 7:15 a.m. and this is the Tobago Updates morning show. We're coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. Just before we move into this segment, we want to, of course, send out birthday greetings. Donami Walcott sending out birthday greetings to Candice Gray out of Lowlands. And we're also sending out birthday greetings to Mr. Anselm Henry. That's ASP Anselm Henry at Airport Authority. Birthday greetings coming out from Adriel Wheeler. All right, so we trust that you all have an enjoyable birthday courtesy the Tobago Updates family. And Ria, it would appear that Renee and Jason have taken some time out on the live to make sure and connect with us. Renee, have no problem at all. We are happy to be enjoying that time with you and trust that you continue to have an enjoyable one. Viewers, in this segment, we are chatting with the man himself. And you know, I said to myself, once I get Ashwood Jack on an interview, the first question I want to ask Ashwood Jack, having served in the minority, how did you feel after the results of December? So that's my first statement to you. Good morning, Mr. I should have started off with morning. Morning.
Good morning, Julia.
Let's start with those. Good morning,
Tobago.
How did you feel as someone within the Tobago space in the politics?
No, I think that a change is inevitable. And besides the inevitability of this change, it also came at a time when we saw so much happening in Tobago that you wondered, when is this change going to come so that there can be a breath of fresh air. I think that Tobagonians have spoken. And what we have seen so far is a level of comfort with the choice that they have made. And, you know, I want to take the opportunity to congratulate the Chief Secretary of Tobago along with his team and to wish them all the best as they continue to work in the best interests of the people of Tobago.
So I want to ask you, as someone who has been involved in the politics for some time now, we saw quite recently the Chief Secretary come to the House in terms of presenting that financial report, which he gave a firm commitment on in terms of one of his responsibilities to definitely assess where we are at. And, you know, I want you to clarify for us. My information tells me that this is not something new.
No, it's not.
You know, because people seem to be thinking it's so out of the norm and it's intended to make trouble. Clarify for us, wasn't something similar done in 2001?
2001. February 2001, when there was a change of the administration. I was a member of the Assembly. The then Chief Secretary London did make a statement in a very similar time, actually. Because what had happened then is that the election was the 28th of January. And so I think that statement was made either the 15th of February, if my memory serves me right. There was a statement. I mean, it was a statement. It was a bit different in that the statement sought in past to castigate Mr. Charles more than anything else. I want to congratulate the Chief Secretary. The Chief Secretary had a well-researched, well put together, and in his now familiar erudite style, an extremely well-delivered presentation. It showed a level of maturity that I think every Tobagonian should be proud of this young man of. And when I perused the content, and I think that it was as such that it told you that there was not much room for malicious, maligning stuff. It was really saying, hey, this is where we are, this is what it is. And every claim he made was followed up by the facts, the numbers that spoke to this is what it is, and these are what the numbers said. You know, and for me, that was really refreshing.
I have to ask, are you concerned with some of the revelations that came out, especially when I'm not even going for the extensive period. I want to zone in on that period prior to going into the election and that 6-6 period over the last year. What are your thoughts in relation to you know, some of the matters raised when you hear comparisons between where we ended as at the end of the last financial year, the end of September, and then what happened between October, November, and just before the election period?
I think that when you look at I think it's about $350-something million in expenditure that was approved in about 13 days before the Assembly was set to dissolve. And then number 3 days, there was another $80 or so million. And when you see what it was approved for, it was really for roadworks. So we had almost $500 million in roadworks taking place in a period that extended about 2 months, 2.5 months. And that speaks to a sort of a recklessness. Because what it says to you is that there's a mad rush to do stuff. And that normally tells you that it is not well thought out. They are not estimates. I have not seen, and I'm quite sure that the Chief Secretary would have had access to, if there was, to a very comprehensive plan that says, these roads are at this stage, this is what we need to do here, this is what we need to do there, and therefore these are the reasons. I know for a fact there was probably another about $80 million based on the report spent on emergency relief. And there are persons who got their houses damaged before that, and still that have not been dealt with, because all this money was used on these what I call electioneering activities. What it says to me is that 21 years of incompetence, they try to fix it with 3 months of bad spending. And it have put Tobago in such a bad place. And I dare to say this because I have been part of the assembly, I've been part of government. I've seen things that other people have not seen. And I'm saying to all of us, to have done that kind of spending in the run-up to the election could not have been done strictly on the advice of the Tobago part of the government. And let me give some examples as to why I'm saying this without fear of contradiction.
So you're saying that they had to have this support
of course, and I can prove that. And I remember when I wanted to change the name of the Crown Point International Airport to the A.N.R. Robinson International Airport. I knew that based on what was happening, or what will happen at any time, that you had to have some agreements. So before I even took that motion to the House, and I went to the government at the time, and I said, I would like to see the name of the airport change from the Crown Point International to the A.N.R. Robinson. I was pleasantly surprised as to how easy it was accepted. But I'm saying that to say this. There are some agreements you make before you make the public move. And therefore, it was easy to have just changed the name of the airport, because we then took it to the House. Of course, we got some pushback from the Assembly, because I was in opposition. Got some pushback, but eventually it was done. Similarly, when I wanted to have the airport hours extended, it was a letter sent to the minister, a phone call to the Prime Minister, agreement with the Prime Minister that, listen, this is what we would like to see. This is why we like. So that is why it was we were able to do it in a day. I'm saying that based on what you're seeing here. You're seeing about $500 million in expenses in the run-up to an election. And therefore, there must have been some agreement that, hey, go ahead, do what you have to do. We will fix that at the end of this election. And I'm saying it should not be that we will fix that for this political organization. It should be that we will fix that for Tobago. And therefore, based on that, I think I saw the Chief Secretary saying that you will have some frank discussions with the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance. And I'm saying that the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance must be willing to pay off a debt created by their organization. Because I can tell you this much. I was actually speaking to someone on one of the jobs. They were doing some craziness with the construction, and I stopped telling the guy, hey, you can't do that wall without having columns and stuff. And the phone rang. And when the phone rang, he answered the phone, and the name he called was a Minister of Government. And he was giving him instruction on the job. And he looked at me, I looked at him. No, he can't move because we're having this conversation. And I said, whoa. And then I discovered that this person was a person really charged with the responsibility of getting a lot of those stuff done in Tobago. So I'm saying the government cannot claim innocence in this waste. The government was party to it.
So would you therefore say the the show, of information coming out. Just recently, we know that the Chief Secretary and the Prime Minister would have began talks over breakfast one of the weekends that the Prime Minister was in Tobago. And we saw the follow-up. And, it's interesting for me that the announcement didn't come from the Chief Secretary. The announcement came through the Minister of Health, indicating, in his words, he was authorized by the Prime Minister to advise that coming out of discussions with the Chief Secretary, do you see that as a show of good faith?
I think it is.
In terms of extending the beach hours? Because he could have simply said,
of course,
the beach hours are extended and gave no kudos to the discussion that took place between the Prime Minister and the Chief Secretary. What are your thoughts? Is that a show of good faith?
On another station,
in terms of where we're moving forward?
About a week ago, I said that I was confident that there will be some respect shown on both sides, because I think the Prime Minister has his style, but I think the Prime Minister, like anyone else, would admire competence. And the Chief Secretary so have shown that, hey, I'm willing to take on this, I know what I'm doing. And based on that, I think the Prime Minister is saying, hey, we can work together in the best interest. But besides that, the Prime Minister also has vested interest in Tobago. And therefore, it is in the best interest of the Prime Minister to see things work well. Also, if you really want to win the next election, you have to show that you're willing to work with whoever is there, a level of being magnanimous that says, hey, this is not really about me, not about my organization. And I find that was commendable. I find it very, very, very commendable.
All right. Folks, we'll certainly be continuing the conversation this morning. But just before we go off to take a little break, I want to signal Lissette Joseph. Ashwood Jack is sending out good morning to my classmate Ashwood. Big up Signal Hill Secondary School, class of 82. So all your business outside.
No, I think that everybody knows that I'm no spring chicken.
So viewers, we want to thank those of you for continuing to show the love and support on the live. We want to remind you to stay tuned and remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Good morning.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Good morning, good morning, put a smile on your when you're moving from place to place. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back. It's 7:29 a.m. Morning. This is the Tobago Updates morning show. We're coming to you live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, and in this segment we continue the conversation with Ashworth Jack, former minority leader of the Tobago House of Assembly. Mr. Jack, you know, we were having the conversation just before we went off here, and I wanted to dive into an area that you made mention of. This morning we are talking future finances in a particular state based on what has been presented. And I want you to make the comparison with that against. Quite recently, I know the Chief Secretary spoke to a quarterly plan in terms of a number of areas where they are attempting, you know, as the first effort to make some change with. Do you anticipate some challenges there based on the financial resources? How do you see that being achieved? I mean, you have sat, in the governance structure.
But the thing about that is there will always be challenges. But when you see what have happened in terms of spending, you realize that there are some spending that can be done differently. The question is, when you look at the quantum of spending over a very short period, it makes you wonder if the money was spent properly or if there was an overinflated bills. And therefore, I think one of the things that need to be done by this administration is that there need to be a quantity surveyor that is brought in to look at every one of those projects, because you might well find yourself saving more than $100 million plus based on value of the projects vis-a-vis what is charged for it. So that might be a plus. I have noticed that the mutual fund that have been activated, so that there might be some room there for borrowings. I'm also hoping that good sense will prevail and the government will help to pay off some of the bills that they have helped to make. And so even with all that, if all that is not done, I think that with prudent management, because part of Tobago's major problem in terms of the assembly is not necessarily a total shortage of funds, it is a lack of proper management of a number of the projects, in terms of there are no estimates of job, whether it be material, labor, time, and stuff like those usually inflates the costs of projects. So I am very hopeful that those things will be now put in place, so it helps you to get stuff done on time, within budget. And of course, you know, I looked at one project near to the stadium, and I'm told it cost $15 million to build a retaining wall. And not for in this life, for the next one and the one after that, I think is monopoly money they're playing with. And my question have been for quite a while, and I continue to ask the question, if this money belonged to those individuals, would they have spent that money like that? And that is the problem. People see the money as government money, but government is all of us. Because when one administration leaves, they can't take the money with them. And the people have to pay. All the bills now have now fallen from that administration to this administration. And that's why people have to be held accountable.
So one of the things we want to look at as well, based on the governance structure, people say that in these circumstances, politicians normally say what they want to have done. They don't always document it. I know the Chief Secretary has spoken to where there are questionable situations warranting, you know, some kind of further investigation coming out of the audit and so on, and persons will be held liable. How do you ensure that you get to the real decision maker versus the public officer who may have just been carrying out their duties?
And that is my problem.
Make some separation there for us.
That is my problem. Too often, the public officers are the ones who take the brunt of the blame, when we know for a fact that these public officers are taking instruction from someone else. And it is simple. Yeah? It is simple because, as I said, you know, I was at Works for 4 years and stuff. There's a file system that says, document it in file, send it to me. So I need to get this done, put it in the file, you send the file, I approve it, and stuff like that. And I want to say to public officers, protect yourself now, man. There's a system provided for it. One, in the absence of that, is really your word against mine. But we all know that no public officer is going to go and fix $300 million in rules. And there's a secretary sitting in the division. And I just want to remind people what the mandate of the secretary is. The law says, where a secretary is assigned responsibility for a division, he shall exercise general direction and control. So it means that if a secretary sees something is happening, you want to know, hey, who gave you authorization to do that? And so it could not have happened without the express will or the express instruction of the secretary. And we need to stop hiding behind this thing that, I didn't say our paper, but the public servant is responsible. No, public servants take too much blame, too much blows for stuff that we as policymakers sometimes make.
So ultimately,
the ultimate responsibility stands with the secretary.
Stands with the secretary. But you see, and why I asked the question is because very interested in that we want to go back to an issue that became very topical on the campaign trail. The chief secretary at the time in raising the issue spoke to the zip line, right, and calling out the former secretary for tourism in the person of Tracy Davidson Celestine at the time. She responded to the effect to indicate that, of course, the person, she is not responsible for signing any checks and doing those kinds of things to get it done. So the question really is, when I look at an example like that, how far does this general exercise of direction and control go for a secretary?
That is called shirking responsibility. When it suits you, you say, okay, this is what it is. When the thing hit the fan, then you say, it's not me, no, I didn't sign it. And I'm saying people need to be honest, right? But I don't know if the secretary, the former secretary for tourism, Mrs. Davidson Celestine, is solely to be held responsible. Because after she left for Costa Rica, there was another secretary who should have ensured that this thing was done properly, because they had responsibility. So it is not that the responsibility lies with one individual. It lies with a system that says, hey, we don't account for anything. $10 million was sent to a wrong account. Huh?
So technically...
And up to now, the $10 million that was sent to a wrong account have not been returned from the wrong account, and nobody has said anything. So is that the public servant again?
Well, the wrong account may be closed by now. But so the question that comes, that it brings us back to Ashwita again, is speaking to the fact, and I like the point that you're making, if the challenge existed with one secretary, the secretaries that take up responsibility following have a responsibility to
deal with it.
To deal with it.
Isn't that what's happening in the statement? The present chief secretary and secretary for finance is saying, hey, this is a problem that I found. And I want you to know that these are the problems that exist. And therefore, because the public is on board, people see what is happening. They can now judge you based on that. But what have happened, remember, it might even be one party handed over to another. So everybody covering for everybody. And then when that time comes to account, then you just palm off the blame on someone else. You know, we're looking at this very small period, and we see the kind of spending. Try casting your mind. Expand that to 21 years. And not even go back as far as 21 years. Look at the last 9 years. I can assure you that in, I think it's 2012, 2013, the unexpended balance was in the vicinity of $700–800 million. Now it is in the minors. I mean, what have we to show for that kind of expenditure? I think the Chief Secretary also spoke about a couple of projects that I personally had a problem from day one. And if you look at my record in the Assembly, I objected to some of those. The Shaw Park Cultural Complex is a case in point. I don't know how to stop arguing about Shaw Park. I am told that it seats about 6,000 people. There is nowhere in the world beside Tobago I have ever seen a facility built to take more than 10% of your population. It is the equivalent of the United States building a stadium or a facility to seat, 39 or 40 million people. It is the equivalent of China building a facility to hold more than 100 million people. There is no way that 10% of your population, based on religion, based on age, based on choice in terms of, it might be a jazz concert, you have enough people that like jazz. There are too many variants that will deal with that. And therefore, when it was done, it was just a vanity project to say, hey, I built a big thing. And when you see it there, you know, every time you pass, you smile, you say, wow. You know how many good projects could have gotten out of this. You could have built a second port, a container port. The roads in Tobago East could have been straightened to allow Tobago East people to go easy. All these people who are waiting for 10 years for a house, that is money that could have helped to house those people. You know, I don't know if the priorities are right. I think it's just about show.
Well, we're just out of time for this interview, Ashley, but I want you in the final 30 seconds. What are your hopes in terms of going forward with this new administration?
We will never have enough resources to do what we want to do. And I think the prioritizing of resources, the proper management of those resources, and the way those resources redound to the average citizens in terms of their comfort, in terms of roads, in terms of health, and a lot of those things is what's going to make this administration stand out, if that is what is implemented. You know, so I think that I've seen the administration starting well, and we hope that it continues and it goes to another level.
All right. Thank you very much there, Ashworth Jack, former Minority Leader of the Tobago House of Assembly, joining us on the Tobago Updates morning show, expressing some views regarding the state of the THA finances at this point. Viewers, in the next segment, we go to the good stuff. Good stuff for you this morning. And this morning we're speaking about Dr. Nicholas Perry. Dr. Nicholas Perry says that after many sleepless nights and several years of study, he now possesses a BSc in biology and chemistry and a Bachelor's of Medicine and Surgery, both from the University of the West Indies, Trinidad. We want to say this morning, coming from the Tobago Updates family, congratulations to Dr. Nicholas Perry, making us proud here. Nicholas Percy. My apologies there. Nicholas Percy, making us proud here in the Tobago space. If you know someone or anything you'd like to feature on the good stuff, remember to email us at info@tobagoupdates.com. That's info@tobagoupdates.com, or contact us at 284-6597. That's 284-6597. Once again, congratulations to Dr. Nicholas Percy, coming from the Tobago Updates family. Viewers, at this point, we want to thank you so much for the love and support on the live this morning. We want to say we're seeing you joining us in the mix there. Kemba Melville, Kimmy, Alfred. Yes, Kimmy, thank you for that correction. William McLeod, Lisette Joseph, Fefe, Didi, Vincent. Mr. Sosa is on the live with us this morning. Good morning, Mr. Thomas Noel Sosa. All right. Mr. Sosa was at Scarborough Secondary School with me. There's certainly energy and vibes, a man you have to respect no matter what. All right. We want to remind all the viewers to continue to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. This world is getting so cold. I wanna keep running like a soldier. Somebody must have touched my soul. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers, to the Tobago Updates morning show. We are chatting this morning with Rose Ambrose, and she'll tell us a little bit more about who she is and what it is that she does.
Welcome to the unit. My name is Rose Ambrose. I'm the nurse manager for the mobile cancer screening unit, where you're standing here now, and we provide a very important service to men and women of Tobago.
Give us an idea of what services you offer here.
Right, here we offer pap smears, breast examinations for women, counseling. We also do referrals. We also see men. We also do breast examination for men, penile examination, and testicular checks, and so on.
Okay. Now this morning we are focused on cervical cancer because this is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes, it is.
Give our viewers an idea of what we're talking about when we talk about cervical cancer.
Right. Let me just touch on this. You would have said it this month, rightfully so, is Awareness Month for cervical cancer and so on. But at this unit, we observe it every month, right? Because we do pap smears right through the year. This unit would have been closed for a little while because we had refurbishment to do, but now we've started back and we on a phase basis, right? Cervical cancer is when the cells in the cervix go badly. You know, I don't want to go into any jargon. I want people to understand what it is.
Right.
The cervix is the mouth of the womb, right? It's the link with the birth canal through which the baby comes,
Right.
right? So the cells can change, what we call abnormal cells, and turn cancerous. So we advise women to come in and have a pap smear.
Are women educated enough on cervical cancer?
Some, not all. Again, our unit would have gone out and tried to do that education, to give people a choice. You know, we give them an educated choice. So we give them the information, allow them to make that, you know, that decision to come in to us. We encourage them, and they do come. But we can do a bit more, you know. We've had programs and so on. So we are getting there. But I would say now we've done quite a lot, and we have, how to put it, our list is as long as like that. So women are coming.
Okay.
Yes.
On average, how many persons would you say within a month test positive? Is it test positive, or you've seen bad cells in the cervix?
Right. Precancerous cells, how to put it, you can have about, say, about 20% or so.
In a given
you
month?
know, not a month. Say in a year.
Okay.
But in a month, all right. Take for instance, if I did 50 pap smears, you can have about 4 or 5 coming back as precancerous cells.
Okay.
Right? Keeping in mind, even though it's precancerous cells, when we see that, we refer them, we give them the referral, and they go straight to the gynae clinic at the hospital. Right? Okay. Sometimes the changes in the cells can be definitely cancerous, or it can be caused by something else. So this is why we encourage women to come in and have your yearly pap smear. Okay. Right?
What sort of ages? What age are we talking about?
Right.
Here?
The age that is the Ministry of Health and the World Health Organization and so would have said is from now 21 to 65.
Was it always that age
No,
range?
it would have been 18. You know, you could have started from 18 or so. In saying this, we follow the guidelines, right, of the TRHA, and we follow the guidelines of the Ministry of Health. But there are exceptions to the rules. Also, if you started having sexual intercourse at an early age, say you started 15 or what have you, we're not gonna, and you come in at age 18, we're not gonna turn you back.
Right.
Yeah? Just as if you come in at age 67, we're gonna say, well, sorry, we can't. No, right? We take everybody on how to put it, on a basis. So if you come in at your age 70, you have vaginal bleeding, which is one of the symptoms. Yeah, we will see you. We will do the pap smear.
Okay, we'll get to the signs and symptoms in just a little bit. But a while ago you mentioned age 15. If you started having sex at age 15 per se, what is the link between early sexual activity and the cervical cancer?
Very strong, right? That is one of the risk factors. Yeah, that is one of the risk factors, having early sexual contact. It exposes you to the cause of cervical cancer, which is the human papilloma virus. Yeah, so sexual contact at an early age, yes.
Okay, and what are some of the signs and symptoms?
Vaginal bleeding. You have if you have pelvic pain, you have bloody discharge, you know, changes to your period, anything that is abnormal for you. If you have a foul odor coming from the vagina and so on, yes, these are some of the symptoms.
And how can it be prevented?
By having your pap smear and by taking precautions. Yeah? Taking precautions meaning that you use a condom. You do your pap smear. Once you do your pap smear every year, it is also part of a vaginal checkup. So, you know, you're on top of your game, you know, well, look, I would know if anything is going wrong. Yeah? So, and you also have your HPV vaccine. The vaccine is available at the health center, not at the department, because they deal with the vaccines upstairs. You can have it from Mondays on 8 o'clock to 12 p.m. Right? And the ages are for men 11 to 26 years, and for women it's 11 to 45 years old.
No, I know just a few years ago there was that age group that you mentioned there, that 11, under 12, under 18. I don't think they were giving it to that age range just a few years ago.
It has changed. You know, now this is where it's at now, but before you had the age of 9, and then, you know, it has always been for women 45. Now if it's over 45 and you need to talk to your healthcare provider, your physician, to see where that would take you, right? But getting the HPV vaccine at an early age for boys and girls would give them prevention of getting this HPV virus.
Let's talk about the steps of the intervention steps. What would be some of those intervention steps?
For
cervical cancer, education.
Right. So we have, first of all, your pap smear. When you come to this department for your pap smear, we educate you on why, you know, you should be having it, how often you should be having it, right? We tell you about, we ask about your history. And so we give you education based on your history also, right, to help prevent you getting it. Obviously, we tell you about the vaccine too.
Okay. Right, so. All right. The importance of women, or stressing the importance here of women coming out and having their pap smear, please.
Very important. Ladies, come. I encourage men to bring their wives, because I educate men. Because sometimes if women are a bit apprehensive, the other half can tell them, look, come. So, how to put it? Come get your pap smear. One of the reasons women don't come in for pap smears too, because somebody would have said to them, oh God, oh, you see that? That painful. Boy.
It's not.
It's not. I am telling you, it is not painful. We are very gentle here.
Rose, let me just say here, Rose is very gentle. Rose is very gentle.
We make, how to put it, our environment, we give you, when you come in, you are welcome, and it's a comforting environment, it's a confidential environment, and we do all that we can. If you come, and we do your pap smear, we call you back for your results, it's good. We don't just leave you there. We have a very good secretary, Miss Joseph, who would call you coming closer to the time. We can't get to everybody because we have a full clientele, you know, but we try our best, and our clients are very good. They come back and they bring friends, you know, so that is good. That means that we are doing something right. So women, please come and have your pap smear, come and have your HPV vaccine for prevention, and we will give you, how to put it, if there are any precancerous cells, and we see that, when we refer them to the gynae clinic, we don't just leave them, there's follow-up. So we follow up our clients, right, through further pap smear, further education, and so on.
Do you have counseling for persons who may have cancerous cells? Maybe they're now getting the news, the information, or the results from a previous test. Is there counseling available for persons who may be taking the news a bit hard and, you know, finding it difficult to move forward?
We do it here. I do it, and they do it at the hospital. You know, they do it at the hospital. But if you do your pap smear here, Even if you didn't do it and you call, I ask you to come in and we go through it. You see, what we need to understand, patient care is not just you coming to have your pap smear done. It is a partnership. It is a partnership. You are coming for me to help you, and I am going to do my best. So we work together. You see, that is where everything comes together.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the optimal patient care you can give. You know, it's a partnership, and when people feel that they are part of something, you get good results.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us this morning, Rose Ambrose.
You are welcome.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
This day in Tobago history. Did you know that on January 31st, 2001, Tobago's first chief secretary leaves office? According to Wikipedia, 21 years ago today was Hochoy Charles's last day in office as Tobago's very first chief secretary. Charles came into office having won the 1996 Tobago House of Assembly election on a National Alliance for Reconstruction ticket. He won the then Moriah Palatavere seat. Hochoy, or Heavy Roller as he's sometimes called, has been a fixture on the political scene, on the Tobago political scene, from the advent of the modern-day assembly in 1980. He served under Chairman Robinson, Davidson, and Denoon. He was the deputy chairman of the House of Assembly under Chairman Jefferson Davidson. However, when he took leadership of the assembly, the position was renamed to Chief Secretary. His deputy was Mr. Cecil Caruth. Mr. Charles's administration was marked by a time of road expansion in Tobago. He's credited with widening the island's existing roadways, especially in the east. One of his most significant contributions to Tobago is leading the charge in the National Parliament to secure more money for Tobago. Always a mainstay in Tobago politics, Mr. Charles started his own political party in 2011 called the Platform of Truth. This has been This Day in Tobago History. My name is Devon Adana. Please be sure to join us after the break and ensure you share the live, share the live, share the live.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome back, viewers. Morning. It's the Tobago Updates morning show coming to you live here from the Port Mall in Scarborough. Viewers, in this segment, we have a few minutes to go. We really have to apologize that we're not able to do the call-in segment as we planned, but we want to assure you that in this week we will certainly cater by popular demand as you have requested it. Before the week is out, we're definitely going to have a call-in segment in one of the areas where we'll be able to speak to and connect with our viewers. But feel free in the meanwhile to connect with us via WhatsApp. It's 284-6597. As well as joining us on the live, feel free to continue to drop your comments on the live for us, for those of you with us. Ria, we've got some condolences and another birthday in the mix.
Definitely. So we start off with the birthday, and it's going out to Annette Woods. And Annette is the wife of a very good friend of ours, Ronald Woods.
So just before Ria goes there, folks, we got to prep for this one. We want to make sure that I just wanted to make sure that that picture is up. So that persons could check to ensure that we're seeing the face here that we're celebrating this morning, Ria, because that's so critical to us here. Ria, who is this young lady here this morning?
That is Annette Woods. Annette Woods celebrating her birthday. So love going out to Annette Woods this morning. And like I said, she is the wife of a very good friend of ours, Ronald Woods. Some of you may know Ronald, who works over at TSTT.
Yes.
Happy birthday going out to you, Annette, and love from the Tobago Updates family to you.
Yes, yes. You see, I thought we would have gotten a picture so they would see who Ronald Wood is as well. But anyway, we're celebrating Annette Wood here.
That's right.
And this morning, coming from the Tobago Updates family. Rian, we have one more condolences
definitely.
to go out
and this is
morning.
going out to the Adams family on the passing of Carol Renz Adams, my very good friend from Trinidad. She and my mother and my aunt were actually like sisters, and my auntie Debbie, they were like sisters. Carol passed away on Friday, unfortunately. So condolences this morning going out to her husband, Julian Adams, and her children, her sons and daughter. Daughters, I think it is. But, you know, condolences definitely going out to them. And God's peace. Julian, very quickly here, I also want to mention some of our sponsors over the last couple of months. So we've got Hair Sanctuary, To Her Perfection, Mateo's / the Master Cobbler, House of Norma, and Joy's Fashion. We want to say thank you to all our sponsors, and as well as the Port Mall. Yes, we say thank you so much for your sponsorship,
not forget
your love.
Rashad's Men's Store as well.
How can we?
Certainly responsible to outfitting me from time to time, and I want to say, you know, express our appreciation. Again, our sponsors are very crucial to the process.
That's right. And to that online viewer who was asking about the, you know, where the cancer screening, the cervical cancer screening facility is. It's actually at the Scarborough Health Center, all right, and it's downstairs. It's the lower floor when you come in by the car park. Yeah, to access the car park, it's the lower floor, so it will be on your right as you're coming in. All
right, excellent. Ria, one of our viewers putting us in spot here this morning. They're looking for the idea of taking the show even further. They want to see the faces of Ria and Julian and Tobago Updates on coffee mugs for visitors and persons in support of the show, and fans that can purchase and support Tobago Updates. And the idea for me here is that it's interesting and very appreciative that viewers actually want to contribute personally to the success of the Tobago Updates family. And we really want to say thank you so much for that support. Don't worry, the producer and the team listening in, we'll find ways where you can also connect, because ultimately, the success of Tobago Updates is because of you, each and every one of you. And we want to say thank you very much for that.
That's right. And we want to send a big shout out this morning to a viewer that we noticed this morning. I'm not sure if this viewer, this online viewer has been there all along, but certainly we noticed that name this morning, and that is Mr. Noel T. Sosa.
Yes.
Viewing on the live this morning. Good morning to you.
And Mr. I could imagine him in his normal form. What are you and Julian calling me name for?
Sounds like it. No, Julian, you're on your own. If
but
Mr. Sosa gets upset,
that's the love there from that's the love there from Mr. Sosa, and we're so happy for it. That's one of the energy that you know, Tobago appreciates so much. I see we also had on the live this morning QK Melville, Dinal Williams, thank you so much for joining us on the live. Anne-Marie Brathwaite, thank you so much for joining us on the live this morning. Grace Stanley, Mary Dates Mitchell, we want to say thank you so much for joining us on the live. Ria, right. We are just out of time.
Yeah, but I see one of the viewers is asking if it's the Pink Room. Again, it's not the Pink Room. That interview was not at the Pink Room. It was at the Scarborough Health Center. Scarborough Health Center. You're going to chat with Rose Ambrose. Trust me, if you want anybody to do your pap smear, you want Rose Ambrose. Okay? You want Rose Ambrose. She's very gentle, and it's a painless procedure. All right? So, just need to put that out there for you. And women, please get up and go and have your pap smear done. Please go and have your pap smear done. And she gave some good advice to the men, but I'm going to leave it there. She'll come on the program sometime in the future, and she'll tell you how the men can screen for testicular cancer.
Daniel Hodge, Cynthia Alman, Russell Morrison, Stevenson Mark, morning, and thank you so much for joining us on the Tobago Updates morning show. Ria, as we wrap this morning.
So we say goodbye to our viewers. Anything you'd like to say before we go, Julia?
We just want to say thank you so much for the continued love and support. First thing in the morning, Ria, we're going to be speaking about Pastor Nevin and his endorsement of Tobago Updates. We chat about that in the morning.
Definitely. Well, Tobago, we want to say thank you for the background picture. Remind us again, our background picture is coming to you courtesy Philbert Williams. And this is a beautiful view of Tobago. I'm understanding it's north side. No, not north side, sorry.
This is heading to the east.
Windward Road.
That's Windward
Road. You see, I drive by where you want to vacation.
I know, Ria, I always say that's me heading to the beautiful countryside. I love the beautiful countryside. Many would know that. Good morning, Nadi. Good morning, Kosi. Good morning, Nikki. All right, loving the beautiful countryside all the time.
Sounds like a real countryman there. Well, viewers, have a great day, and we say stay safe on the roads. Be safe out there. Remember to wear your mask, sanitize, and socially distance. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. This world is getting so cold.